Welcome to NativeScript Community Chat for July 22nd. We'll get started on quick updates. NativeScript Core, in the past week, we released 6.5.11 and 6.5.12. In particular, this fixed action bar show hide issue that if you were to show an action bar later, like after the page had initially been laid out, it would overlap content. And we added a fix that now properly relays out the page when that action bar shows and hides. It's a really nice fix there. Android, there was an issue with the soft input and dismissing when it had focus. And that went in as well. That was in 6.5.11. The iOS fix was in 6.5.12. A quick update on Angular 10. New RCs went out. I know some people are still playing with those. We've got @nativescript firebase as an RC as well. This is Eddie's Firebase plugin officially scoped and compliant with the latest RCs. We've also got UI-listview, UI-sidedrawer. We're updating the remaining rest of the UI Pro suite for compliance there. Main thing is just making sure they work with all the latest of RCs. The big thing with Angular 10 that we've mentioned before is the dropping of ES5 support. This had bigger implications than it seemed on the surface. Generally, you have to make sure that ng-packager is used to package it up right, that it's targeting ES 2015 or higher, and using esnext modules. So generally, it meant that we had to change up the way that some plugins are packaged for full Ivy compliance with Angular 10. So we've done that again for ListView SideDrawer, since those are the ones that have Angular compliance. It's also worth noting that it's interesting that code can still be ES5 and used. It's just the Angular bits that have to be compliant with higher than ES5. So generally ES 2015 or higher. So that just means any Angular bits of any plugin needs to be built targeting that. And again, the best way to do it is through ng-packager. Provides a nice way that Angular certainly likes to consume libraries. So we'll be posting a blog post on updating plugins to use ng-packager, probably beginning of next week, hopefully. We can have a blog post with the details there. So any others in the community that want to update their plugins for that can use that strategy. We're trying to flush through and get a few more updated. And I think the material components by Martin in the community, we also want to update to use that strategy. So once we have those RCs out with all compliance, then we'll post a blog with the full details. This is what I was talking about. We are looking at actually packaging Core up with ES 2017 as well. This is something it's been desired for quite a long time. I mean, ES5 nowadays is considered pretty old, and we do want to follow suit with the JavaScript community and use latest. So in doing that, we do need to consider one aspect of the runtimes, in particular on iOS. If you did a class extension of a native class, generally the runtimes will not interpret a typical ES6 or ESM style extends when it's going off a native class. So what we're introducing in doing this, and we're working on this actually currently, we're hoping by tomorrow we'll have another RC out of Core that actually will be built with 2017 and using this new native class decorator. This is something that we're going to provide out of Core, and it'll be something that'll be automatic in Webpack config. So all the newest Webpack configs will actually include this transformation to your projects already. So the only thing you'd have to do to actually bump your projects is just target ES 2015 or 2017. You can use the esnext module format, and you can add this @nativeclass decorator, and that will automatically transform classes to be compatible with the runtimes. So this is a pretty nice thing, and it'll allow the whole framework to kind of progress with the latest module syntax. And we're definitely excited about getting this new RC out here. The first time NativeScript Core will have been built and distributed with anything higher than ES5. Let's see. Last update here, I think, is just around NS Cloud. This is something Igor, who's just joined the chat, can probably give a little bit more details on, but this is getting much closer. I know there's been a lot of inquiry about this since the beginning of June. when it was announced that, of course, Sidekick was discontinued and cloud builds were no longer available. So we've been working on an alternate solution to bring the cloud command back into the CLI. One of the main use cases were Windows users out there needing to build for iOS and not having access to a Mac. But we're trying to round out a lot of options there that you can tie it to things other than Circle CI. There was a blog post that circulated around mid-May from the prior core team about using Circle CI to take the place of that. But there were things missing in that blog post, and I don't think it provided a really good path for people. So we're trying to round that out with some additional options outside of Circle CI. But things like Azure DevOps, GitHub, and GitLab, and trying to just provide an easy way to interact with that. Igor, I don't know if you have anything specific you want to state on that. And if not, we'll move on. We'll circle back if he wants to mention anything there. With that, those are really all the updates for today. Feel free if you guys have any questions. I don't know if anyone out there has tried the Angular 10 RC. I know Ken's running on it now. Curious to hear from Ken if you've had any initial issues.
I've actually been, after you started that branch and got my core library up to date, that was now a little over a week, now less than a week ago, 5 days ago or so. I've been back. I haven't really touched it because I've been working on another long overdue project that
definitely.
So I plan to get back to that. I can hopefully report next week. Let's put it that way. I'll definitely get back to that in the next couple.
Well, by early next week, I think we'll have the rest of the UI Pro suite in full compliance, as well as some others. And we did find some Angular 10 issues, so it's the reason we wanted to keep it in RC. There was some additional things that we found related to it that went out yesterday in new RC. So anyway,
I will rush getting back to that then, because I know I'm afraid I will run into a few other issues. I hope not, but if I do, I'd love to get them in before you.
We'll try to touch base on an end of week, Ken, and just see if you had a chance to probably just clean the project and rebuild it, and that'll pull the latest RCs, and we'll see what you got. But the latest as of yesterday, midday, was looking really good. I'll say the latest RCs did definitely fix some things that we had found, and it's looking pretty good. Might be a few other outliers out there, and then I think just still the plugin updates that we're just helping to provide full compliance. It's worth stating that NGCC is still relevant. For plugins that are out there that aren't built, with Ivy support, you can still use the NGCC to tie in those. And in particular, go back here. So UI-listview, UI-sidedrawer, we used ng-packager to bring full Ivy compliance. They're built with Ivy, the Angular bits. So these two plugins in particular, the RCs, are actually good to go there. But you can still use these other plugins. You would just have to name them in ngCC, as we had shown in that blog post, even going back to Angular 9. So it's still relevant to use old plugins that haven't been distributed with pure Ivy support right out of the box just yet. But once they do, what's nice is you can remove them from ngCC. So that ngCC config becomes less relevant as more plugins publish official Ivy support themselves. So eventually that will be the case, I would say. Certainly by the fall, I would say the majority will kind of have that. There's not a huge number of plugins that had specific Angular bits. So it's really only those out there that had the specific Angular bits that need that ng-packager in there. The code of governance, which we mentioned on the last call, we have a draft going, and we're planning to publish that. The code of governance is important to us because we want to communicate out to all of you and really anyone that's interested in the framework to provide a roadmap to get involved. And it's really just a official way to become part of the TSC, which is what our group is serving as now. And that just provides a way that I think for future generations, even well beyond our generation, to pick up the torch and continue kind of evolving the framework. And our goal is to really solidify it in the JavaScript ecosystem. And so really the code of governance and our talks with the OpenJS Foundation are really all about that. I'll make a quick mention too about support packages. We are going to post some support packages, which we have some broken down now, and we want to post those as official options for people out there. And as mentioned last time, if you're a professional service provider in NativeScript and you do NativeScript work, reach out to us at support@nativescript.org. You can also use the contact form on the website, but let us know the name of your company, maybe a brief bio and your logo, and we'd be happy to post you up. We already got one of those, and we're going to post them up here probably this afternoon. So we'd be happy to list you there for sure. John Niedzwiecki, how you doing? Sorry to call you out.
Hi.
Hi. So John is a great community member from the Angular world that I know pretty well, but he's also helping us with the NativeScript new homepage. And he currently works at Disney. I believe still works at Disney. Is that right, John?
Yeah, with Disney streaming.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, so John is also helping to do some things there as well. And if you haven't ever said hello to John, you can say hello. He's a really friendly guy, and great to have him in the community for sure. But that's all the updates for this week. There's been a lot going on for sure. It's been a busy summer so far, but NativeScript 7.0 plans are actively underway. Really every day there are things evolving with NativeScript 7.0 and preparations there. So we are very excited about it, and right now are on track to hit NativeScript 7.0 by the end of August, which has been our initial target by the end of the summer. So along with that, as we've mentioned, the V8 iOS runtime that's out there will be the first official @NativeScript iOS runtime. And if you haven't tried the beta yet, please try it. It's the npm tag as beta v8. And just to make that extra clear, let me pull that up here. So right now the runtimes are distributed under the TNS iOS package. But if you look at versions here on npm, you can see that there is this beta v8 target. This beta v8 is the brand new v8 engine, and it's been in beta for several weeks now. And it's we actually are already distributing this in production apps now, and it feels really nice. It also simplifies the console logs and the terminal output, so a really nice adjustment there. But for anybody out there, please try it. If you have any issues with it, we really appreciate any reports there. We do want to make this the official runtime scoped under NativeScript iOS as part of the 7.0 plan. So definitely try this if you haven't yet. And depending on the app type and plugin, it'd be curious to see. You know, we know of one issue that we're not sure it's V8 related in another app we've looked at that has a pretty severe and extensive app.ts file with a lot going on in there. So we think it may be related to some configuration there. But that's the only thing we've seen to date. But yeah, we have this already on the App Store. It's already been approved, and it's now in deployed apps in the store now. But with that, listen, thanks for joining, everyone. If something else comes to mind, as always, hit us up through an email. And for anyone out there, if you have something in particular you want to talk through, and that, perhaps this is not the best platform for you to do so, let us know, and we can talk one-to-one too. We've talked to a lot of people in the community one-to-one about all sorts of stuff. And if there's anything in particular that's not mentioned here and you'd rather speak one-to-one about it, definitely reach out and let us know, and we'll be happy to talk with you. But on that, you guys have a good rest of the week, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yep. See you, everyone.